Hey man, sometimes the winners, sometimes top guys lose. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Israel, he's a top guy. He lost, and I'm telling you right now, it's okay. It's okay for him. But since we're about to get a little nitty gritty about the fights last night, how did you guys feel about the three championship fights?
Um. Well, in my opinion, I guess let's start off with Izzy, right? So Izzy fought a good fight against a man who was naturally bigger than him. And he didn't look bad. The thing is that he pretty much cemented the win when he took Izzy down and, essentially kind of worked him a little bit, not anything, super detrimental. But I mean, like, I think Izzy, if he actually spent the time to put a little bit more muscle on his frame, I think he would do better. I mean, and not only that, we got to think about this. Izzy went up another weight class, fought, he lost, but he fought the top dude in that weight class and didn't do bad, which means that 205 should be on the lookout in the future because I think he's coming back. And I think the next time he's coming back, it's either going to be a contender shot, a contender fight, or a title shot.
Izzy should hang his head up high because it was a competitive fight. I mean, Jan clearly won. I don't think there's going to be a debate about that. But Jan didn't like spank him from pillar to post. It wasn't like that. It was just he more or less he used his size. He knew like, hey, when I take this guy down, I'm gonna use my size to hold him down because he didn't really do much on the ground except just advance positions, do little pit pat punches, so this way the referee wouldn't stop it. But on the feet, I kept saying last night, like, hey, if Izzy gets his rhythm in, Jan is going to start eating more shots than he would like, and that's what was happening. And then Jan pulling the veteran okie doke and like, all right, fuck this, I'm gonna take him down because I'm not trying to get spanked and sparked and be on the highlight reel. And good shouts out to the Polish Power man. He did what he needed to do to keep his belt. But shouts out to Izzy too because he went up 20 pounds on like pussy ass boxing. Went up 20 pounds, challenged the number one guy, and yes, he lost. No doubt about it. Izzy will tell you that, but he was competitive. So I think this is more like a lesson versus like a bad loss. And that's how I felt about the main event. So not a whole lot to really discuss, really. What you think,
Yeah.
Spence?
Main thing that comes to my mind is he can finally be quiet about chasing this road to the path of a pot of gold, which is named John Jones.
Yes.
To be honest, because
Yes.
I've just
because
been
it
waiting for that.
yeah, like because to me, like I enjoyed the fight. I think Izzy has a chance of being somebody in that division, possibly. It's a possible chance years down the line. Like I don't see him. I think he needs to. I think this is going to light the spark to make him really go back through his division and clear house, and even just trying to find a way of pushing himself as much as he can to be as dominant. To say, okay, I need to leave and go somewhere else, right? But outside of that, he can shut his mouth. Like the constant shots throughout the week of taking aims at John Jones and saying, "Oh, I'm gonna stay at my weight, so I can always fight at 185." Some dudes bulk up in a new division and they'll never end up winning. It's like, you can be quiet because you bumped up 20 pounds, similar to John, what he's doing in the heavyweight division. So I don't know. I think it was like a very good day to see. I wanted him to win. I did want Izzy to win, but it was kind of as a John Jones fan, it was like a glorious day to see. If you can't get through this guy too easily, you're going to have a hard day with someone like John Jones, who's going to just break you down. So that was my main opinion when it came to that fight, especially.
My thing is that like the UFC wouldn't have let Izzy fight John Jones on the greatest day on earth because no, they just wouldn't. Because like you telling me that this man who weighs 200 pounds is going to go fight possibly the greatest fighter of all time when he just said, hey, and who knows if it's true, like who knows how much he actually weighs, but he's saying that he's walking around 240. You're telling me that this man who is the champion at 185, is going to fight somebody who could be possibly walking around 60 pounds, or 60 to 40 pounds higher than him. Nah, that they wouldn't let that happen. Not even for the most money. I don't think so.
If Izzy won last night, they were going to push that. They weren't going to be like, Izzy, you got to defend the light heavyweight belt. No. Hey, Izzy, good job. You're the light heavyweight champion. Can you drop the middleweight belt? Because we don't want you to fight a middleweight no more. And we're going to set up this John fight in December. That's exactly what they were going to do. But in a sense, it was a blessing in disguise for Isreal to let him know, like, hey, he's going to have to increase his frame when he's taking on bigger opponents. Because if you're fighting a guy who's, hey, he's bigger and stronger than somebody who's what you're used to fighting and what you're used to going against, then it's like, all right, you have to go in the lab and put some muscle mass on and deal with people who fight at that size more often than not. Technique goes out the window sometimes when you're fighting somebody who's a lot larger than you, and they're a trained professional as well, right? We're not talking about some bum on the fucking street. Israel smoked the guy, but since he fought, like you guys mentioned, the champion who's 20 pounds above you, hey, technique might not work because now the guy got some technique as well, which showed last night in the fight.
I can even attest to that. Like in high school, I used to wrestle. And I remember I had a match with a guy one time where I technically, and I wasn't the best or anything, but like I was technically better than this guy when it came to like how to wrestle, right? But he was stronger than me. So at some point it's like he realized like, oh, I can just use my strength. If at that moment it was just, hey, I got to use my strength. So it's like, and even I've been in the same situation on the other end where someone's smaller and it's, okay, we're practicing. It's like, okay, well, I'm tired of being technical with you right now. I'm going to just use my weight. So it's like, at some point, there's a reason why people that are fighting at that weight class aren't just barely making that weight. Like, the only time you have those anomalies is someone like Deontay Wilder. And that's a whole nother conversation, just being so light compared to your division. But, yeah.
Even Jan had said a few times during the press conference, was saying, hey, like, once Izzy started getting a little tired, I started, utilizing the takedown. Now, that's not to say that when Izzy drops back down to 185, somebody's going to be able to use that exact game plan. That is not the case. Like, you're telling me that essentially, like, these people will have to be right around the same weight, and they're not going to have the strength of a Jan Blachowicz. So it's like anybody at 185 who's thinking about copying that little that game plan, stop immediately. Like, I'm honestly I don't think Izzy's gonna lose. Whoever he fights against at 185, I think he beats them handedly.
For Izzy to lose at 185 for right now, does not look very feasible for a lot of people. They have to be like Habib level grappling, where they could shut down the striking. Other than that, it shows that Izzy's good enough to stop takedowns, at middleweight. And obviously he's the best striker at middleweight. So it's going to take hell of a lot for someone to beat him down there at 185. But at light heavyweight, obviously, like, hey, look, we really just need to oppose our size and will. And, we could definitely hold the dude down enough to score points and win the round and hopefully the fight. But I don't think the main event fight was a great fight. I don't think it was a barn burner as such. But what I will say, it really showed a lot, and it was a good technical fight. And just that's how sometimes it goes when you have overhyped events like this. What did you guys think about the